This is Z1035. It's music and fun. And what's up in Smith County? This is Blake Frazier. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Smith County Commissioner of Revenue, Mr. Jeff Richardson. And Mr. Richardson, question comes in. What does Commissioner of Revenue even mean? And what do you, Mr. Richardson, do for over $60,000, Mr. Richardson?
Blake, that's a fair question. If you're a public employee, especially if you're elected, and a lot of folks don't know what I do or what my office does, that's a fair question. I would like to correct the record, however, Blake. I don't make over $60,000. I actually make over $72,000. So let's get the information correct. The Commissioner of Revenue's office is a constitutional office. It's called a constitutional office because it's specifically mentioned in the Constitution of Virginia. We are elected. And one of the reasons that we are elected is that we are supposed to be quasi-independent. I am not an employee of Smith County. I'm not an employee of the state of Virginia. I'm an employee of a little agency set up known as a compensation board, which is for constitutional offices only. Now, in terms of, you listen to the name Commissioner of Revenue, you have the word commission in it. Many, many years ago in the state of Virginia, commissioners of revenue, their salary, some of it was determined by how much they assessed. Well, I think somewhere along the line, someone picked up that maybe the commissioner under that scenario might be just a little bit too assertive in his manner in which he was assessing. And instead what happens is my salary is now established through the compensation board by the General Assembly of Virginia. My salary, that $72,000, approximately $13,000 of that is local money. The rest of it is state money. Is how it ends up. The percentage roughly.
Now is that the same also with the treasurer?
There's different formulas, but his is somewhat very similar to mine also. Now you get into some other constitutional offices, and it may be a higher percentage in terms of state and so forth. I don't want to speak about those because I'm certainly not as knowledgeable about them. In terms of what I do, or what my job is, or what I perceive my role is to be, the primary role of my job is that I'm in essence the assessment officer for all tangible property that's in Smith County. That means real estate and personal property. Now on the real estate side, what ends up happening on that side, we actually only keep the records. This is one of the things I always tell folks, that in the state of Virginia we have the Frank Sinatra method. I'll do it my way. Every jurisdiction can do it differently. If you go to Loudoun County, they actually assess in their office. They not only keep the records, they make them. If you go to the city of Danville or Lynchburg and you go to the commissioner's office, real estate's not even in their office at all. In most rural counties like ours, what we do is a company is contracted by the board to make the assessment. Then they do the appeals process, and then they bring those records to us, and at that point we maintain them. Now, what we also do is on the personal property side, what we do is that in terms of that, we assess all personal property. That would include automobiles, business equipment, machinery and tools for manufacturers, boats, planes, you name it. We keep those records. And that part of it, I establish the methodology, the depreciation schedules and so forth. That is a part of what my job is. We have over 21,000 parcels of property. We have over 22,000 individual personal property accounts. Each of those personal property accounts can add into the hundreds, for example. And a lot of folks don't think about this. We have two accounts that have hundreds of individual items in it. Every time you stop at a service station, you step up to get a drink out of a drink machine. That's owned by usually Coca-Cola or Pepsi. They have to report every soft drink vending machine to our office, and then we have to assess it, put the depreciation on it, and so forth, and then we have to decide which ones are in towns and counties and distribute that to the municipalities, because that's one of the best kept secrets about our office. If you go to any municipality and ask them who does your assessing for their offices or for those municipalities, they'll say the Commissioner of the Revenue does. So what that does for the municipalities is it lowers their operating expenses. They receive the information from us, which is just an appropriate way to do it. And they do lots of things for us, so we help each other. One of the other issues that we do within our office is, as commissioner, is something called discovery. We go out, in particular the big day is January 1. That's tax day in Virginia. And what I've traditionally done on January 1, that's a work day for me. I go out with my little Polaroid camera, and I first of all call the building inspector's office, the highway department, the county engineer, and I find out the location of construction going on in Smith County. I find out who the companies are because quite often they're from out of the county. And I go and I take my camera, I take photographs. I then contact the companies and inform them, even though they are not in Smith County conducting business, rather they're not headquartered here, they're conducting business on tax day. And I assess them. They have to pay taxes. They're in Smith County making $1. For example, we had a company from over in the coal fields that was doing the sewer line up Allison Gap a number of years ago. They had lots of equipment, and I insisted that they report that equipment to us. Last year, on January 1 was a good year for me. On January 1, on a 6-hour day, we went out and assessed enough equipment on that day that generated, I believe it was about $42,000. Then we later in the year found Northrop Grumman's equipment, and which went statewide also, and that generated about 16, 17 for the county, and probably I would think 2 to 3 for the town of Marion. So it hovered around $19,000 to $20,000. That's part of our job, discovery. We're there to find the money. Other things we do is if as Commissioner of Revenue, if I see that somebody's been inappropriately assessed, it's my job. If I'm going to work hard to get the money, I should work just as equally hard if somebody inappropriately paid to see that it's corrected. I had a gentleman 2 or 3 years ago up in Atkins, and the assessors made an error. He didn't catch it. And I ended up bringing it to the board's attention, and the county attorney informed me that they could not refund his money or we could not lower the value because I don't have the authority to do that because I didn't make the mistake, the assessors did. So what I did was, at the recommendation of the board, I might add, was that I petitioned a circuit court judge to order me to lower the value of his property because I had to have a court order to do it. And also I asked that they order the Board of Supervisors to refund his money, which was $300 and some. And he did, the judge signed the order, and he received both. So you try to be, I think a lot of people are under the misconception that I'm working for the county. I'm looking out for the county. I take the perspective that as what I should be is that I should go into anything that looks like it's in the gray area impartially. And however it turns out, if it's to the county's benefit, so be it. If it is to the taxpayer's benefit, so be it. It's all a matter of being equal before the law and treating everyone equally. My job is a position of leadership, and leadership amounts to looking forward. So what I try to do is not only the day-to-day operations as we've discussed here, but also we establish long-range plans. Some of the things that we've done is education, continuing education of staff. When I arrived, no one had received a master's level through the Weldon Cooper Center at the University of Virginia. I'm now a Master Commissioner of Revenue. I have to meet criteria. I had to be audited. I had to take classes. And I'm very proud of the fact that 2 of my 3 staff members have reached Master Deputy status. I only have one who is not, and she's in the program and fully anticipate once she works 3 years, she'll be there. Other things that we've done, we've upgraded the computer system. Going to be a big difference, big help for us. I have a great new employee, Suzanne Lee, who just does a great job in real estate.